This is William Taggart. If anyone out there is listening, I'm begging you, help. We've barricaded ourselves inside the core server room. Many of us are wounded. Please, save us. Please, save us.
Or a server room, is it?
Don't! I don't want to have to do this.
Oh, a lot of hostile people here. Server room, what the hell is that anyway?
There it is. Get out of here. Go, go, go. No, no, there's no one here. It's all in your head. All in your head. Okay. Get out of here. We're gonna kill you!
I don't care for this. The problem I have with this is the same with what some other zombie movies, is that they're supposed to be seeing hallucinations making them go crazy, but they're clearly ignoring each other totally. So, why would they? In this case it's somewhat at least plausible since it's or artificial, but it was supposed to just... The effect was something like... Would it activate some kind of a gland in the brain that causes you to see hallucinations? It didn't seem like there was any kind of a detailed plan to cause specific type of illusions, let alone let them ignore other augmented people. So, what I think should have happened is that they should have gone crazy totally. No, it doesn't seem like they're crazy. It seems like someone's doing very intentional detail manipulation.
Is anybody there? Can you hear me? I've got survivors here. We've locked ourselves in a machine room. Please! Help us!
I guess we should put an effort to try to rescue people. Machine room and server room. That's where we need to go, and I don't see anything but a huge tunnel there that ends up in an elevator. Probably leaves the area, so I'll try to visit other places first. Meet Taggart, meet Sarah. Machine room.
Who's that? That's not mine. Get away. Stop. I won't let them take over. I won't. Don't. You're there. Just leave me alone. Alone.
Grr.
Just leave me alone! Alone! Get out of here! Go! Leave me alone! Kill him. Just gonna kill him. Get up. Go away, Ghost. Go away. No. Don't scare me. You're not even there. Get away. Go. Get away. Don't you see? Get away from me. I need for you to understand. Just let me explain. They got him. Get off me. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get away from me. I can't. Get away. Get away from me. Control. Go away.
Three, two. This is a dream,
We're always hiding when I need to see them.
Oh, hi. God damn it. Okay, the suit seems to go better place.
Something's in the shadows. Come on. Die, you monster! I don't want to have to do this! Get away from me. I won't hurt you. I just want to talk. Don't be different!
Come close! Please come out. I have to do what they tell me.
They ruined me. The bastards ruined me.
That's wonderful.
Adam! Oh, thank God you came. I've got wounded here. We'll have to move them first.
We can't move anyone yet. Not until I get to the base of the station and shut down Darrow's broadcast.
What? Why?
The chaos you experienced here, it's everywhere. The Illuminati created a biochip that stops people from using enhanced abilities, and Darrow turned it into a kill switch.
Oh my God, you... We gotta fix this, Adam. If people realize what's happened, if they believe augmentation technology created this chaos, they'll ban human enhancement research forever.
And that would be a bad thing.
Yes, it would! Don't you see what's at stake here? Ever since man first crawled out of that ocean, we've been striving to be more than we are. Augmentation technology is just the latest, greatest step on a very long road. But we've barely scratched the surface of its potential. We can't let fear stop us from continuing.
That's your belief, Seraph. Not everyone shares it.
But you do, Adam. I know it. And if we work together, we can really make a difference. We can improve the lives of everyone, but only if we fix this.
Go on.
We'd have to get a message out after you shut down Hugh's signal. Tell the world, tell them that Humanity Front did this. That their doctors created a virus that only affects augmented people.
You mean lie?
It'll give us time, son. Time to figure out how to destroy the Illuminati's biochips and move on.
And what about the people who've been hurt by this? Don't they deserve the truth?
Adam, if we want the freedom to become more than we are, we can't be blinded by a misguided morality. Some people will be left behind. It's reality. It's evolution, son.
Right. Evolution based on my DNA.
Please, son, you have to stay with me on this.
I'll think about it.
So, yeah, this is starting to hint why this ending sucks so badly. It's another thing that they're building sort of a very implausible scenario in this. I mean, only augmented people went crazy already. We know that. So it's hard, even if you would finger out a terrorist organization, let's say, it was Al-Qaeda, they did it. It doesn't, that people would not be upset about that. it wouldn't change the fact that someone with a press of a button managed to cause hundreds of thousands, probably, people to go insane and go on a murder spree. It doesn't matter who did it or what, for what reason. It's the fact that you can do that is in itself unacceptable. It doesn't matter who has the capability of doing that, and that's entirely correct and justified. So I can see the scenario Sarif is sort of building, and by extension the game makers are building, that it would ever stick.
Just leave me alone!
Not even remotely. I don't think enhancement technology would be in any danger, even if the truth that augmentation technology caused this, which it didn't. So, I mean, the truth is this is a creator. There was a vast conspiracy to make the biochip vulnerable in the first place, and after that, the vulnerability was used to cause this. I mean, his story, Sarif's story, doesn't change that. It was just points a finger at a terrorist organization instead of the creators, actual creators. The story is still the same, that they caused it intentionally, and the vulnerability is there. What my likely reaction would be that it would basically be somehow try to be governed or managed, that such vulnerabilities cannot be allowed to exist, and rightly so. Augmentation technology basically would be put some limits on what you can and can't do, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So I just don't see the scenario of Sarif's painting ever happening. To what he is sort of presenting as a solution wouldn't really even address the main problem. That the augmentation technology can be easily used to do all this. That's not even my real problem with this. Having shitty, unplausible endings isn't exactly something new. Or unlikely scenarios. That's something that sort of always pops up. I mean, the writers sort of have their vision, and I think they're too... I think they don't really... But the problem is, do they really believe that this is the... Are the visions presented as basically versions of things that will happen, or are they presented as views of those particular characters of what will happen? There's quite a bit of difference there. But here, I think they're sort of presented as this will actually be the consequence, instead of this guy thinks this might happen, but no, he's wrong. This has to be where Taggart is. Let's see what his scenario for the future is. That's probably where we want to go, since it's barricaded.
Mr. Jensen, how ironic that you should be the one to save us from the monsters out there.
Monsters, Taggart? You mean people. Augmented people who've lost all control, lost their reason.
Isn't that supposed to be my line? Unfortunately, it seems your esteemed Mr. Darrow decided to appropriate my point and turn it back on me. In madness and in blood. He has betrayed us all.
So you finally admit it. You are part of this, after all. You have been all along.
It would be pointless to deny anything now, but despite what you think of us, we never wanted augmentations outlawed. All we've ever sought is regulation, rules governing how the technology is developed, and laws that ensure it's used for the good of society.
You've raised society above humanity. So who gets to make those rules?
Men with wisdom, strength, and tenacity to know what's right. Proven leaders who distinguish themselves like you, Mr. Jensen. You've certainly earned the right to be one of us. All you have to do is take it.
I'm not looking for glory, Taggart.
Just remember that without control, there's no room for freedom, only anarchy. You were a policeman once. You know the importance of order.
I know there's a difference between order and slavery.
The biochip wasn't supposed to force people to do anything. It merely limited power so that people couldn't go on killing sprees like the ones taking place right now.
Amazing how well that worked out.
Say what you will, but I know that some part of you agrees with me. Absolute freedom is no different than absolute chaos. Society needs boundaries if it has any hope of surviving, and you, Mr. Jensen, can be the one to give us that hope. Shut down Darrow's signal. Then help me get a message out saying that an accident at VersaLife contaminated the world's neuropozyne supply.
VersaLife? And what if I decided to blame the Illuminati?
The Illuminati is just a name to get rich financiers to invest more money. Besides, do you really think the world will believe in some 18th century conspiracy theory? Do this for us, and you'll ensure a future for mankind, all of mankind, augmented or otherwise. The future Hugh Darrow offers doesn't allow for both.
Let me think about it.
I don't think Taggart's argument is very convincing, because his basic argument, I think, is sound. The problem is he's painting his basically mind control devices as the only alternative to complete anarchy, which is some horseshit. He can't accept sort of a level of self-determination and chaos, which I feel is so appropriate for society. Yes, it will allow for people to go fly planes into buildings and go on a shooting spree in schools, but in the large scale of things, such events are, I mean, if you just look at the damage, they barely register. What the effect, the larger effect on those is how they affect other people. But the amount of people killed, for example, are minuscule if you compare to basically normal causes of death and what that happened on the year accidents and all that. Intentional sort of that kind of a real outlier cases where people intentionally go to kill each other for very questionable reasons. The numbers are absolutely minute. They don't matter in the large scheme of things at all. So even though they are very unfortunate, I don't see subjecting all people to the potential control of this level is in any way in balance to counter something like that. A good way to go back.
Can't think with all that noise.
I don't think I want to go out from there. Back grab. Yeah, that sounds wrong. Anyway, I think we're done. Ready to go. Ready, good to go and meet the end of this tunnel run. Okay. Broadcast. Okay. 150 heavy rifle ammunition.
Real! Not real! Not real! There we go! Tam! Get away! No! You won't! Oh, man. You won't get me!
What exactly can we do here? More heavy rifle ammunition. Turrets and robots potentially, yeah. Nothing to do with us. I guess we could take gas canisters. We really get them out of here. Have to knock them over first. Come on. Come on, game. No! Oh. We'll just have to go on a murder spree or something. Well, we strictly speaking don't. There's some kind of a edge there. On the other hand, what the fuck couldn't we? I'm sure they're all nice people, but and we could have just kept them alive if we would have went into for the broadcasting. Or yeah, it's one of those things. When you come at me with the intention of killing me, I stop caring at that point. It is the belly of the beast, I'd imagine. I don't think this is gonna be a short descent. We still have 850 shots, so I think we'll be cool no matter what they throw our way. Okay. No heavy rifle. Energy. Heavy rifle. Probably. Less Marat. So let's see what you've got.
What the hell? Oh my god.
Water pressure nominal at 173 psi.
Who am I?
Communications web online.
I feel cold.
Drones 1 through 3 within operational parameters.
I don't remember.
Drone 4 disconnected.
Let me go.
Processing.
Oh God, please help me. I'm scared.
Core temperature stable. Processing.
Zhao, what are you doing?
Connecting to Panchaea's Haron project, Mr. Jensen. The most advanced quantum computer slave to the human brain, and the closest to perfection we'll ever achieve. I'm going to use it to hack Darrow's signal and rework the message to our benefit.
Our benefit? You mean the Illuminati's?
Someone has to override the signal and be the world's savior. And let's be honest, neither of us would trust anyone else to fill that role. Computer, begin EEG sync.
So much pain.
Syncing beta waves at 40 cycles per second.
Sleep, please. Let me sleep.
Incompatible master-slave check detected. Alert. Unable to transfer control to Alpha Pod.
The system won't recognize my chip.
Neural systems offline. Rerouting control of EEG.
I can't
to
control
monitor
Iron.
AI. Increasing glutamate levels by 32%.
Zhao, get them out of there. I have to reach the control chamber.
No! I can still control it! I'm in control!
Stop the signal.
Security alert.
Through the primary drone hatch.
Oh shit.
Alpha Pod security in place. To access Alpha Pod, purge tertiary pods.
I must be the one to alter the signal. Once I do, the council will welcome me with open arms.
Yes. Tell me all about it.
Mother.
She's invulnerable at the moment, so there's no point shooting at her. Just want to get rid of the turret. If we were able to hack things,
You have to have been better served keeping your head down.
might be less of a problem. Basically, we need to destroy the human components of this Hiram project.
Please leave
Make
him
her
away
vulnerable.
from us. Security measures are sufficient. Insufficient.
Why can't I press the button? The
Once the weight of
location
the gaze
I can
touches you,
affect.
there is no escape.
It's very odd with this weapon.
Contamination. Diagnostic room. Error in system.
Iron is weakening.
Rerouting. Connection.
I am regaining control. I must.
Error in system. Rerouting. Connection. Reroute complete. Warning. Pod 1 safety purge in progress. Stand by. Contaminated system warning. Tertiary pods are offline. Primary security measures disabled. Power surge detected. Electrical charge above normal levels and rising. Preparing for discharge sequencing. Warning. Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Electric discharge
Yeah,
sequence
electrical charge.
initialized.
Ooh.
It's happening. Iron is compromised. No, wait. It's initiating emergency protocols. You don't know the resources they have at their disposal, Jensen. Despite your special genetics, you have been in over your head the whole time. Initiate dissipation protocol. You see, there is no way you can defeat the system. There is nothing you
No,
can
there's
do to
still.
stop.
There has to be one more.
Warning. Electrical charge subcritical and rising. Halfway to discharge sequence.
Must be one more.
Primary pod compromised. Secondary security measures activated. Evacuate area.
One more pod left.
You still cannot reach me, Jensen. There are too many contingencies built into the system. You and I have both failed.
What did I not miss? I think I killed 3 of them. Suddenly can't push. Maybe one of them is still alive. No.
Warning. Primary pod station.
No, I think they're pretty much all dead.
No! I will not lose this. This is my right. I have worked too long to stop now. You want the glory. Is that it?
How exactly can I harm her?
It is all mine. I have given everything for this.
Warning. Primary pod station. Failure imminent. Warning. Electrical charge approaching critical levels. Discharge imminent. Clear the area.
There's no point doing anything to her at the moment. Okay, so what exactly do I need to do? I'm not a hacker. I just need to shoot her more. It's hard to say. Yeah, there are 3 computers. I don't think there's anything particular we can do at this point. Just a refill location here and there, which means absolutely goddamn nothing at this point. But grenades. These work? Yeah. Now it's vulnerable.
I can't take.
I can't dislike this boss fight quite as much as the rest. Because at least you had options here. I think you could have even hacked those turrets around here. So there's certainly a lot of cover at no point. If you would play with a stealthy hacker option, you would have a lot more options to do things here. So as sort of a typical of a boss fight as this is, I still think this is probably one of the better ones in this game. Just because it had more options. And here we enter the bullshit stage. Horrible bullshit stage.
Hello, Adam. Welcome to the edge. It is not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
Eliza? What are you doing here?
It is my job to monitor and report on the news, Adam. Before Darrow smothered everything with his signal, the whole world was tuned into this place, including me.
The broadcast. I have to stop it.
I know. Please, come closer. Do you know where we are, Adam? We are at the fulcrum point, when society lies in the balance. Hugh Darrow hoped to tip the scales one way, by telling the world everything you already know. About the biochip, the Illuminati, everything. He believed knowing the truth would convince mankind to abandon research into human enhancement technologies forever.
It would certainly give them reason to fear it.
Indeed. Darrow's confession is ready to send. If you want, I can wideband it across all media as soon as you shut down the signal. Everything you worked so hard to uncover will be exposed. But only if you deactivate the broadcast using this control. However, if you desire, I can alter Darrow's message. Conceal the creation of the biochip while putting in new content.
Content blaming the humanity front, like Seraph suggested.
The organization has already admitted to harboring terrorists. It would be easy to convince people they turn to biological warfare in a more desperate attempt to get rid of augmented people.
But why? What would that achieve?
In time, it could shift the focus of hatred onto people whose prejudices are seen as too extreme, leaving corporations free to experiment with human evolution as they desire. But if you want me to perform this edit for you, you must disengage the signal and activate the video edit function from here. Alternatively, Darrow's message can be adjusted to erase all mention of the power group known as the Illuminati. I can report that lack of proper regulation allowed vast quantities of neuropozyne to become contaminated prior to reaching the market.
Taggart's preference. You think the world will buy a made-up story about neuropozyne poisoning?
You might be surprised by what people believe. I can convince them. And having experienced the negative effects of corporate negligence firsthand, a majority of people might force the world to place harsh restrictions on all human enhancement research. But only if you disengage the signal and activate the video edit function from here. Of course, there is another option. This passage leads to Panchaea's pressure regulation controls. Destroy them and the installation will cave in on itself, overwhelmed by the weight of the ocean pressing against it. Everyone inside the structure will die.
That's a solution?
No one will be left to tell the world what happened, Adam. Nobody will be able to spin the story.
Including me.
The choice is yours. Do you believe you have the wisdom to choose an appropriate future for mankind? Or do you trust mankind to find the answers on its own?
Yeah, this is basically the pot of horseshit at this sort of end of this disappointment rainbow that started the end stage of the Panchaea. The game turned sort of into a tunnel run against unintelligent opponents that basically just rush at you totally mindlessly, which is all shit. And then it's a tunnel run mostly. There are still a few passages here and there, so it's not like you have to go that one exact route, but it's the sort of hub system approach was abandoned. And then there's the very unconvincing scenarios of what will happen, ending with this crowning nugget on that turd. Basically, the fact that you have these options, that you're put it into a situation where you decide everything by press of a different button, or have these choices, that's the most terrible way you can end things. I don't mean that you have these options and you have to just pick one. I mean how this is implemented. I can think of a Deus Ex 1 is a good example of this. It's basically the same setup in many ways. You have your handful of options. You have pick a side or just blow everything up and ruin basically everything. Destroy global communications entirely, or pick sides, whatever. However, every choice has a different way to achieve it. If you're going to basically nuke the place, you do have to basically, I think, get rid of safeties and overload some kind of experimental reactor. There are things you have to do that differ from other things. If you want to, what was, I don't even recall all the options anymore. But one, if you want to join up with the AI, you have to first do some preparations and then meet with him. They don't lead to the same things. Then there was just defeat the Majestic 12 guy, so disable his force field and fight with him. So different paths, different choices all lead to different actions in the same sort of a larger area. Different things you have to do, different mechanics you have to disable, or go reach different points, disable defenses, disable security, whatever. But it's basically the same thing, but with a much superior implementation. And you don't have to go meet with everyone to hear fully what they want you to do. There are constant communications with you, because you have the info link, and they can monitor what's happening more or less. And when they try to argue against other people and what they're proposing, and giving reasons why you shouldn't be doing that. Here we have a face-to-face meeting with the sides. They tell their implausible version of how things should happen after we do what they want to do, and that's it. There's no discussions or anything. There's no argumentation or trying to sort of no one's putting out any kind of critique or discussion there. It's just take this or not. And then we reach the bullshit room, where there's a separate console for each message, which is absolutely ridiculous. There should have been if you want to go through this route, there should be one button to disable the fucking transmission already present, and then Eliza basically gives you the options and what do you want to do, and she'll basically make it happen. This is what more or less what it's already do. Pressing this button is not going to edit the message, or I mean, press of a button. No press of a button can possibly do that. No one pre-built this system realistically here to send this to edit some kind of a signal and send this message. Realistically speaking, Eliza will be doing that, or someone has to work quite hard to do the proper edits. Either way, in no way is it going to happen by a press of this button. No one would have built these different consoles. I think 2 of them are here to enable the edit function, which is ridiculous. And the Eliza's additional option of just blowing up the place so no one can manipulate what happened here is absolutely ridiculous when you have an AI whose only purpose in life seems to be to manipulate how people discuss things and that they do it properly. So just because this place gets destroyed doesn't mean that manipulation is not going to happen. That's preposterous to even suggest that. So it's just mind-boggling bad implementation of this system. It just leaves a really bad taste in your mouth at the end of the game. I hate it. And I don't... How would I send this message? Does this have a... This can't have a capability of broadcasting all over the world anyway. This is because it's a land-based site. It would have to use satellites to do it. And it's quite clear Eliza and her friends can manipulate those, control those satellites. So in practical terms, the message in the first place would have been able to be probably contained to this Pangaea area, more or less, very isolated area, deny satellite access for the message. So the problem is contained in the first place. This just doesn't work on me on any level. It's just so bad. I don't know what. It doesn't really matter. They're all shit endings anyway. And there's the self-destruct system. Ooh, the same type of button. No safety mechanisms or anything. Just it's so unsatisfying. So unsatisfying. I'm sort of have sided with Sharif throughout the end, so I'm siding it with him.
If you do this, the focus of hatred may shift to those responsible for unleashing biological warfare, leaving corporations free to experiment with human evolution. Are you sure this is your choice?
I have also a problem with how this is expressed. Experiment with human evolution. Again, evolution is just adjusting to your environment. So what exactly are you suggesting? That the experiment with human evolution would be adjusting how people can adapt? Is that a problem? I'm guessing they're using evolution here in the sense that they want to experiment to the direction human species will head, but that's not exactly evolution in any sense anymore. But it's a minor issue. Semantics.
So be it then.
Sarif was right about one thing. It's in our nature to want to rise above our limits. Think about it. We were cold, so we harnessed fire. We were weak, so we invented tools. Every time we met an obstacle, we used creativity and ingenuity to overcome it. The cycle is inevitable. But will the outcome always be good? I guess that will depend on how we approach it. These past few months, I was challenged many times. But more often than not, didn't I try to keep morality in mind, knowing that my actions didn't have to harm others? Time and time again, didn't I resist the urge to abuse power and resources simply to achieve my goals more swiftly? In the past, we've had to compensate for weaknesses, finding quick solutions that only benefit a few. But what if we never need to feel weak or morally conflicted again? What if the path Sarif wants us to take enables us to hold on to higher values with more stability? One thing is obvious. For the first time in history, we have a chance to steal fire from the gods. To turn away from it now, to stop pursuing a future in which technology and biology combine, leading to the promise of a singularity, would mean to deny the very essence of who we are. No doubt the road to get there will be bumpy, hurting some people along the way. But won't achieving the dream be worth it? We can become the gods we've always been striving to be. We might as well get good at it.
Augmented features. And yeah, that's it. Basically stock footage of stock footage ending. That's exactly how it feels. So proper selection there. Ah, God. This is yeah, Deus Ex Human Evolution. In general, I think this is a great game. A first-person shooter. It has a lot of the good that I like about Deus Ex. There are certainly differences too, but I think this is it's a good modernization version of the same concept. I don't like it quite as much. What I think is this basically is the problem with this game. It falls sort of apart at the end. It more or less manages to go that far, but then it sort of breaks apart. And it leaves a fairly unimpressive and bad taste in your mouth at the end, which I don't get. I mean, that's like the... I just don't get who would intentionally implement something so bad. I mean, it's like, even if you choose to go with the let's reach a single point at the end where you have to make a choice, it's still just offering a different sort of 4 different control tables with an individual button, the flashing button you press. It's like the worst possible way you can implement that. I mean, and you have to put effort into doing that. It probably would have been less effort to just have Eliza's picture there and you talk to her and do it through dialogue, and that would have been better. So someone put in extra effort to implement a more shittier ending than the lesser effort would have caused. I mean, that's just terrible, and that's sort of that's always bad, because that's what I basically left. Fairly sizable game that you enjoy playing throughout, and then you leave this what the fuck was that ending? I just don't get it. Wonder and amazement about how bad it is what you're left with. That I just don't get it. I have to believe, because the rest of the game wasn't nearly that bad. I have to sort of assume that they had to run out of time or something, because the end just fell apart so badly, and there's sort of missing pieces, like the shuttle that you arrive in Pangaea having being unable to open its tubes, and you sort of crash into the ocean, and then you just start by standing right on top of Pangaea like nothing's happened. I mean, it seems like there were plans there to do something else, but then they ran out of time and they just just let's do something. Let's get this turd out the door, and that'll be good enough. Anyway, and yeah, this is the problem. I'm trying to say my opinion about the game, and I have to basically rant about the ending, even though it's a minor part in the game. But it's it's supposed to be the highlight, the conclusion, the climax, and it just flops pitifully. So it does have a significant impact in that sense. And there are problems in the game. Even Deus Ex 2, which is probably considered to be the weakest of the games, has strong points over this game. Main being probably the upgrade system. Because of the generic upgrades, they're basically just tiered direct upgrades to the weapons you put them in. In 2 you can put 2 upgrades in each weapon, and each of there's like probably closer to 8 or 10 of the upgrades. You can only pick 2 per weapon. You can have multiple versions of the same weapon with different upgrades too. So but you have to make choices here and there. With this, the upgrade system, you have pretty much individual upgrades that there's no reason basically not to put them, and then there are direct upgrades that just boost your weapon performance. No reason not to put them. There's no choices to be made. The only choice you really make is what weapon or 2 or 3 you're gonna carry with you. You don't. But once you have made that choice, that's the end of it. So in a way, even though there are a lot of good things, character upgrades, for example, I think is probably the best implementation in all of these games. In first, there's some good in there. Well, in first, I think it's solid. There's a few questionable skills like swimming that I don't see why they are there in the first place, but it's okay. I just think this is better. In 2, it's yeah, in the first you have to make a choice between 2 skills or upgrades, augmentations you pick. You pick one or another. You can't have them both no matter what. So there are choices to be made there. So in that sense I like it more, because you have to make sacrifices. In here there are sacrifices, but it's more of a which things you want to pick first, and that'll determine how you play the game. So there are choices, but in the end you get everything you really want anyway. So yeah. Into it's you have to pick the legal version or the black market version of that ability, and that's pretty much it. The problem with that is that they're very uninteresting abilities, a lot of them. So and the good ones are sort of in the same slots. So in theory it might be just fine, but the actual balancing on the skill usefulness and how they're sort of grouped together makes it a fairly dull system. But still, this game has all the hallmarks of the Deus Ex game, has the hubs, has a lot of options, different ways to do this, character upgrades, you have the weapon upgrades. You sort of have the inventory management limitation, but I feel ammunition should not be part of it, or like more the preferred solution would be you would have gained more ammunition. That's my main gripe, I guess. It wasn't too big of an issue in the end, but that's sort of the problem. Because at the end you get shoveled with ammunition constantly, so it's almost impossible to run low. But during all other portions of the game you simply can't use the weapons you pick up, especially the heavier ones, because you are not getting enough ammunition of them. Even the few people who use those weapons do not drop even a single full clip of ammunition, so they're really unusable weapons through most parts of the game, which is a shame. But yeah, overall I have a fairly good opinion of this game. it has dialogue systems, has enhancement systems to even affect them outcomes. It has a lot of things that sort of shifted more towards a role-playing experience, a more richer experience than just a simple first-person shooter. And it is a good game up until the end, where I feel it first drops to mediocre one, with the rushing horse coming at you, and then it sort of bottoms out right at the end, where it should have been the crowning point, the highlight. So it's a great game with a very disappointing